Karl Marx wrote those words in 1848. And for over a century, the powerful have tried to convince you that he was wrong. They told you that class is no longer relevant, that we live in a meritocracy, that the only struggle that matters is your own personal struggle to get ahead. And yet, have you ever had that feeling? That feeling when you look at your paycheck, and then you look at your bills, and you realize you're running faster and faster just to stay in the same place? That feeling that you are one unexpected car repair, one medical emergency, one missed paycheck away from complete disaster? You follow the rules, you work hard, you sacrifice, but the finish line keeps moving further away. You probably tell yourself it's your fault. Maybe you didn't save enough. Maybe you chose the wrong career. Maybe you're just not good enough.
Now, what if I told you that feeling of personal failure is not an accident? What if that constant, low-level anxiety you feel about money isn't a bug in the system, but the system working perfectly? What if the rich don't just tolerate your struggle, but actively need it? This is the brutal truth that modern society is built to hide. A truth Karl Marx dedicated his life to exposing, and it is this: poverty is not a lack of resources, it is a system of control. And the wealthy, the elite, the 1%, whatever you want to call them, have a deep, fundamental, and unspoken interest in keeping you exactly where you are, poor, indebted, and just hopeful enough not to revolt. In this video, we will not be talking about budgets or investments. We will be talking about psychological warfare. We will deconstruct the 4 great illusions the wealthy use to keep you poor, and we will reveal the Marxist framework for seeing the truth and beginning your own mental liberation. So, if you're ready to understand the game you've been forced to play, let's begin.
Part 1. The Architecture of Control. To understand why the rich want you to stay poor, you first have to understand the fundamental mechanics of capitalism, as seen by Marx. Forget the complex jargon. It's very simple. The system is divided into 2 main classes. The bourgeoisie, the ownership class. They own the factories, the companies, the land, the platforms. They own the means of production. And then there's the proletariat, the working class. That's most of us. We don't own the means of production. So, to survive, we have only one thing to sell: our time, our labor, our life force. The wealth of the ownership class is directly generated from the labor of the working class. They need you to build their products, run their services, and generate their profits. Your work is the engine of their wealth. Now, ask yourself a simple, logical question. If you were in the ownership class, what would be the ideal condition for your workforce? Would you want them to be rich, independent, and free, with endless options? Of course not. An independent worker is a worker who can say no, a worker who can demand higher wages, a worker who might decide to start their own enterprise and become your competition. No, the ideal worker from the perspective of capital is one who is dependent, one who is in debt, one who is slightly desperate, a worker who is so preoccupied with their own survival that they never have the time or the energy to look up and question the fairness of the system itself. They don't need to use force to maintain this system. They don't need soldiers on the streets because they have a far more powerful weapon: ideology. They have built a psychological matrix, a set of beliefs, values, and stories that we are all taught from birth. These stories are not designed to help you succeed. They are designed to make you accept your position within the system. And now we will expose the 4 central pillars of this ideological prison. Part 2. The 4 Great Illusions That Keep You Poor. This is how they control your mind, not with threats, but with ideas that sound like common sense. Illusion number 1. The glorification of the grind. Hustle harder, rise and grind, no days off. Sleep is for the weak. If you're not working, you're losing. You hear this everywhere, on social media, from self-help gurus, even from your own boss. The idea that constant, relentless work is a virtue, a badge of honor. But Marx would see this for what it truly is, a brilliant form of psychological control. The glorification of the grind serves 2 purposes for the elite. First, it extracts the maximum possible labor from you. It makes you feel guilty for resting, for having hobbies, for spending time with your family. It convinces you to donate your evenings, your weekends, your very life force to generating more surplus value for them, for free. Second, and more importantly, an exhausted populace is a compliant populace. When you work 60 hours a week, come home, cook dinner, and collapse on the couch, do you have the energy to read a book on economic theory? To organize with your coworkers? To question the fundamental structures of society? No, you just have enough energy to watch Netflix and go to sleep. The hustle culture is not a path to your wealth. It is a tranquilizer for your revolutionary spirit. It makes you blame yourself. I'm just not working hard enough, instead of blaming the system that demands an inhumane amount of work for a barely human wage. Illusion number 2. The myth of financial literacy as the ultimate cure.
The reason you're poor is because you buy that $5 coffee. You just need to budget better. Stop eating avocado toast. Track every penny, and you'll be a millionaire. This is perhaps the most insidious illusion of them all, because it sounds so reasonable, so responsible. But it is a deliberate distraction. It takes a massive systemic problem, stagnant wages, corporate greed, a shrinking social safety net, and reduces it to a matter of your personal spending habits. It is a psychological trick to shift the blame once again from the system onto you. They underpay you by thousands of dollars a year and then have the audacity to publish articles telling you that your daily coffee is the problem. Of course, budgeting is a useful skill, but you cannot budget your way out of exploitation. You cannot save your way out of a system designed to pay you the absolute minimum it can get away with. Teaching financial literacy to a low-wage worker is like teaching a prisoner how to decorate their cell more nicely. It might make their confinement slightly more pleasant, but it does absolutely nothing to address the fact that they are still in prison. The focus on your small expenses distracts you from their massive profits. And as long as you're worried about your lattes, you're not worried about their systemic wage theft. Illusion number 3. The weaponization of debt. Don't worry, it's good debt. A student loan is an investment in your future. A mortgage is the American dream. A car loan is a necessity. Marx lived before the age of credit scores and student loans, but he would have instantly recognized debt for what it is, the invisible chains of modern capitalism. Debt is the most effective tool for social control ever invented. A person free of debt is a person with options. They can quit a job they hate. They can take a year off to write a book. They can speak out against an unjust boss without fear of being fired. They are dangerous. But a person in debt, they are a perfect worker.
They are terrified of losing their job because they have a mortgage payment due on the first of the month. They will tolerate abuse and exploitation because they have student loan payments that follow them to the grave. They will accept low wages because they have credit card debt compounding at 20% interest. Debt ties you to the system. It enforces obedience. It transforms a free-thinking human being into a risk-averse, compliant cog in the machine. The elite don't want you to be debt-free. They want you to be a responsible borrower, shackled to their financial institutions for life. Your mortgage is not the American dream. It is a 30-year contract of servitude.
Illusion number 4. The dream of the 1 in a million escape. Look at that tech billionaire who dropped out of college. Look at that celebrity who came from nothing. Look at that lottery winner. In this country, anyone can make it if they just have a great idea. The system needs to maintain the illusion of hope. If everyone believed the game was completely unwinnable, they would stop playing. So the media, which is owned by the elite, constantly promotes these 1 in a million lottery winner stories. They create a cult of celebrity around billionaires and entertainers. Why? Because it serves as a psychological pressure release valve. These stories convince you that the system is fair, but that you just haven't been lucky enough or brilliant enough to find your golden ticket. It keeps you hoping for a miracle escape instead of demanding a systemic change. It encourages you to idolize the very people at the top of the pyramid of your exploitation. You buy their books, you follow their social media, you dream of being like them. But these outlier stories are not proof that the system works. They're the exception that proves the rule. For every one person who escapes, millions are left behind, working harder, dreaming of the day it will be their turn. The dream of becoming a billionaire is the very thing that keeps the masses from uniting against the billionaire class. Part 3. From Illusion to Awareness.
So, you are trapped. You are made to work yourself to exhaustion, then blamed for being too tired to get ahead. You are systematically underpaid, then told your poverty is a result of your spending habits. You are encouraged to take on lifelong debt, then controlled by the fear of that debt. You are sold a false dream of escape to keep you from changing your reality. It is a perfect prison, a prison where the inmates don't even know they're locked up. So what do you do? Marx's answer is not simple, but it is powerful. It begins not with a protest, but with a thought, a change in consciousness. This is the path to your mental liberation.
Part 4. The Path to Mental Liberation.
You cannot win the game by playing harder. You must change the way you see the game itself. Step 1. From self-blame to system awareness. The very first, most crucial step is to absolve yourself of the guilt. You are not lazy. You are not a failure. Say it out loud. Your struggle is not a reflection of your character. It is a reflection of the system you are in. When you have a bad month financially, stop asking, "What did I do wrong?" and start asking, "How is the system designed to produce this outcome?" This shift from internal blame to external analysis is the foundational act of all liberation. Step 2. From consumer to creator and saver. The system needs you to be a mindless consumer. It needs you to take your small paycheck and immediately give it back to other corporations, keeping you on the zero-sum treadmill. Reject this role. Every dollar you don't spend on a product you don't need is a vote for your own freedom. Every time you repair something instead of replacing it, you are committing a small act of rebellion. Shift your focus from what you can buy to what you can create. A piece of art, a garden, a piece of code, a well-written letter. Reclaim your identity as a producer, not just a consumer.
Step 3. From competition to community. The system isolates you. It pits you against your coworkers for the same promotion, the same raise. Break this isolation. Start talking, not about office gossip, but about real things. Talk about your wages. Talk about your debt. Talk about your frustrations. You will quickly discover you are not alone. A problem shared among many is no longer a personal failure. It is a collective grievance, and a collective grievance is the seed of a movement. Solidarity is the kryptonite of the elite.
Step 4. From passive hope to active building. Stop hoping to win the lottery. Stop dreaming of being discovered. Hope is a passive state. Liberation is an active process. Start building your own value, independent of your employer. This doesn't mean starting a billion-dollar company. It means starting a blog, learning a new high-value skill online, building a strong community network. Create sources of value, meaning, and potential income that no boss can fire you from. Your goal is to slowly, piece by piece, build a life that is less dependent on the wage system.
Final truth. The revolution is in your mind. Let's be perfectly clear. The rich and powerful want you to stay poor, tired, and in debt for a very simple reason. A controlled population is a profitable population. Your anxiety is their leverage. Your debt is their chain. Your exhaustion is their peace. But the moment you see the architecture of your own prison, you are no longer just an inmate. You are a potential escape artist. This is the power Marx gave us. Not a perfect roadmap to a utopia, but a brutal, honest X-ray of the system that holds us captive. He gave us the language to describe our struggle. He gave us the framework to understand our own exploitation. And now, it is up to us to use it.
The philosophers have only interpreted the world in various ways. The point, however, is to change it. This change does not start with a riot. It starts with a question. It starts with you, this week, identifying one of the 4 illusions that has the strongest hold on your life. Is it the glorification of the grind? Is it the shame of your spending habits? Is it the fear of your debt? Is it the false hope of a miracle escape? Identify it. Write it down. Acknowledge its power over you. That is the first step. Awareness is the first act of any revolution. If this video has sparked that awareness in you, don't let that spark die. Share it with one person, one friend, one family member who you know is working hard but feels like they are going nowhere. Let them know they are not crazy and they are not alone. Because the elite can handle individual dissenters, but they cannot handle a mass awakening. Subscribe to this channel because our journey of deconstruction is just beginning. In our next video, we will explore the concept of manufactured scarcity, how the system artificially creates shortages to keep prices high, profits flowing, and your power low. Thank you for watching. Now, go out there and start thinking like a revolutionary.